Welcome to Sacred Rebels podcast, where we discuss life after trauma as we question societal norms and shatter stigmas. Are you a woman who longs for a sense of community and understanding? Well, stick around. There is a seat for you here. This is your host, Tay.
And co-host Amy.
And we're just two best friend millennial moms and entrepreneurs navigating life and motherhood while on a spiritual healing journey.
We don't do surface level, and we're definitely not your typical moms, so let's dig deep. We plan to cover it all and take you behind the scenes as we share our personal experiences, learn more about the holistic side of healing, and introduce all the incredible humans we've met along the way.
Join us as we share the good, the bad, and the ugly side of healing. We hope to help you step into your power. Thanks so much for listening. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Sacred Rebels. Tonight we are so excited to have Amanda Bradford here. And we will introduce her after our big deep breath.
One hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Really expel all the energy out. And then inhale, lift up, rise up, fill up, open the heart. Exhale, let it go.
So tonight we have Amanda Bradford here. You guys have probably heard us talk about her on the podcast. She hosted our last Women's Circle, which was so beautiful. She is a realtor, mom, doer of all things, multi-passionate, just like me and Aim. And she's here to read our card and share a little bit of her story.
Yes, super excited to be here. Thank you
for
having me. So I pulled card number 7, Legacy of Light. It is like all the cards in this deck, super beautiful. It's interesting because it shows like 3 generations of people, kind of like, which is I love. So you are being asked to honor the legacy of light that is your sacred birthright. Take nourishment and support from those that have come before you. Your ancestral lines, not only in blood but also in spirit. Perhaps there are beings that have inspired and motivated you to live as a sacred rebel from your heart and with the belief in yourself. The more you are nourished by this legacy of light from your past, the more you'll become a bearer of the legacy for those that will be supported by your light in the future. This is a sacred endowment from the great universal source of light to humanity. It is the light of wisdom, creativity, radical courage, love, and respect that is passed down from the heart of each generation to the next. The legacy of light is your spiritual birthright to refine and shine your essence in the world. Be like the sun, radiant and unapologetic of your nature. The oracle of legacy of light comes to you when you need confirmation that a creative choice you are making or have made or will soon make is the one that is in alignment with your sacred purpose and spiritual path of healing and growth. Well,
So good.
there you have it.
So good.
So good.
That one was so good.
Yeah. What'd you get out of that?
So it's interesting. So obviously we're here to talk about spiritual healing. And for me, every time I come here, every time I do something, whether it's breathwork, sound, anything that I do, I always channel, and I'm always like seeing ancestors past,
Yes.
that generational. I think I've pulled the Sacred Rebel card before in like a one-on-one with Amy. And so for me, it's just really like honoring the fact that like my roots, my heritage go way back. Like just blow out the broom closet.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah.
Welcome to the woo-woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Witch sisters. Yep.
Yes.
I love that.
I was saying it the other day. I was like, if you aren't living like you would have got burned at the stake, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, you're not actually living. Like, I would have fucking been burned.
See, they couldn't find me because I was lost in the woods. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Like, I probably wouldn't have lost that battle either, too. I would have fought back, but...
yeah. You're like,
You know.
no, I'm going to burn you first.
Seriously.
Yeah, right? It's like, why were we taught to, fear the witches and not the people that burned the witches?
Yeah.
That one, too, like, so fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Our fucking system's just fucked up and broken.
Yeah, always.
But yeah, we could go for a whole nother tangent on
Like
that
we
one.
always
that's
do.
like my
No,
favorite
we're
tangent too.
Yeah, it's a great one. So we really would go.
Yeah.
But let's tell us a little bit about your story. What's
Yeah.
your why to when you came to, to eventually find holistic healing as your solution, right?
Yeah. So I have, ever since I was a kid, I've always been super into the elements, super into, I was a witch when I was like insisted on being a witch for my third Halloween, and I was a witch every single Halloween, and I'm still a witch I'm a witch every day, but like that's just always been like my thing. I remember like running off when I was a kid, like hiding in the woods that separated like our house from the neighbor's house, like slow, like I know like dig and like make little potions and all that stuff. I was like, what are you doing? And I'm just playing.
I'm
Like
Matilda, Mom.
yeah, like literally I was just like, bring home pet rocks.
Yeah.
I buy crystals, so it's fine. It's consistent.
Stays on brand.
Yeah. So I went through like my emo phase, like not emo, but at the time I guess it was emo. I don't know. It was like that like metal phase. I ran around in my Slipknot, ring me up with my barcode sweatshirt and my like huge boots with the star and like the spiky collar and like the dark makeup. And my dad was like, Jesus, he's like, just don't wear the collar to your grandparents' house. He's like, just please, like, I don't need to explain to my parents that you're not actually into S&M. It's a thing. It's a phase. Please. This is only rule. It's only rule. But you know what's crazy is I was also a cheerleader. I was on like multiple cheer teams, like 2 at a time, like whatever. So I literally like wipe off the dark makeup, slap on lipstick, high ponytail, like
oh my
like,
God.
I was like always like light, dark, bounce back, like all over the place. So I brought home this like book, like a Wicca book. My mom was like, what are you doing? Get that out of my house. I was like, okay. So flash forward, it is 2008. My parents have been divorced. My dad is sick. He's dying of cancer. And his sister came to stay. She's retired now, but his older sister was a hospice nurse. So she came to stay with us, me and my 2 sisters, and basically hospiced her own brother. And she is very holistic. So is my dad's other sister. And we went to some yoga classes together. And that was like, it's like weed. It's like the gateway drug, right?
Yeah.
So we did some yoga classes. And the yoga instructor, I knew professionally. I was working in family law at the time. She was a family law practitioner, attorney as well. And I was like, I knew who she was. And we were talking. She's like, I do Reiki. So she like came and tried to like kind of just calm my dad a little bit with some Reiki. And I kind of stayed in that little, just like the yoga and the Reiki. Never got certified in Reiki, just was doing the yoga classes. And shortly after my dad passed away, I ignored intuition when I started dating my now ex-husband. And then after my dad passed away, I ignored literally every sign, like known to mankind. Minutes before this jackass proposed, I was like, let's go in here. It's like the lady at Hampton Beach that like does like the crystals and the cards. And she was just like, someone is going to ask you, like, you need to say no, like flat out. She's like, someone's going to ask you a question and you need to say no. Like you need to stop ignoring your intuition. Like she was like, honey. And I was like, whatever, take my $20, bye. And I said yes, even though every inch of my body was screaming no. And that was probably like the poorest decision that pulled me away from anything like moving into like that holistic space. He was
kind of a setback.
Yeah, it was just beyond a step back. Like to the point where like he was so grossed out by like periods or anything. Like he would be like, no. Like the whole reason I got my first IUD was because he literally was like, can you check into a hotel that's gross?
What?
Like, yeah, like it was just so many things.
Like we bleed monthly. What the fuck?
Yeah, and it was like it to me, and I was just like, that's so weird. So I was like, whatever. Like it's a pain in the it's a pain in the butt, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever. Like okay, so I got the IUD. Now looking back, I can see that was the universe being like, do not have children with this man. Like, honey, no. So it was like the universe kind of like steering me and protecting me in a way, because thank God we didn't have children. It was a very, very short, but felt like an eternal marriage. Ended domestic violence. Horrible domestic violence, like horrible. Got got the restraining order, go through the whole divorce process. Restraining order didn't matter. He kept breaking the restraining order. So flash forward, and my friend Jen was like, hey, like, do you want to come to church with me? And I was like, this is going to burn down, honey. So I did, because I was going through this divorce. I was so stressed, not sleeping, like whatever. So we go to church, and I distinctly remember sitting there. I got there, like we went a couple of times. I got there early, and I was like sitting there, and I was like, I don't know why I'm here. Like, why am I here? Like, this is not my thing. Like, my mom's parents were very Catholic. Like, when my grandmother was sick, I would go to church with her. I would drive her to church and sit there. And, like, but I never did, like, all the communions and all that. I never did all that stuff. And I was like, why am I here? And I just remember sitting there and I just being like, oh, I don't know if I was just like, I need something in my life. I need something in my life. And literally 24 hours later, my now husband posted me on Facebook and was like, I had posted something about going like the Bruins or something. And he was just like, we start our whole sarcastic conversation, because my husband and I are the most sarcastic humans. So we start this whole like back and forth sarcastic conversation. Next thing you know, we're going on a date, and he's moving in with me. And I was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I've known him since we were in like 6th grade. He moved here when we were in 6th grade. So you know how you said like the 4s?
Yeah.
And he like sat across from me. I remember going home after like one of the first days of school. I'm like, yeah, this like new kid moved in here from Maryland. Like, Mike, he has this like cool accent.
Oh my God. That's so cute.
And now he no longer sounds like he's from Maryland. He sounds like straight from Bill Ricca, because he worked in Bill Ricca for like so long. He has this thick Mass accent.
Oh my God, dead.
It's been like just swapped entirely. Which it's so funny, because like his dad was literally just here over the weekend, and he has that like cute little Southern
twang.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. The rules are made up, and when you know, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it was like literally. So, and it was like just okay. So he like moves in, and like he just life changed, like in an instant, life changed. So, and it was just like just so passionate, like right off the like the get go. It was just like crazy, and. I remember one of our first dates, he brought me to a Bruins game. Talk about setting the bar high. He's like, hey, we're like 2 rows from the ice. It's like Stanley Cup playoffs. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah,
okay, big shot.
Right. So, but I mean, but that's the thing. So he so blessed. His mentors, and my trash man husband, he's in the trash industry. So if you tell him, you talk to him, he's like, yeah, I'm a trash man. Like, you're not an actual trash man. Like, you don't ride the back of the truck. But he had amazing mentors. They are have become family over the years.
Love that.
Tickets to like everything. And so he was like, yeah, I really, whatever. So we go, and we're leaving the Bruins game. I was like, hey, do you want to like hook up in the parking garage? Mind you, I had this like little Mercedes coupe at the time. We don't fit at all. And he was just like, way to like fake me out. Like, this is a joke. So we ended up, obviously went home, but it was just like
cute and spontaneous.
Yeah.
In the fun
And now
part.
now literally every time we go to the parking garage, she's like, hey, and I'm like, I don't have a little Mercedes coupe anymore,
So cute.
Yeah. So it was through that I started to like find myself again.
Yes.
And he's always been super encouraging of me. Like, he was like, I have in our house that we bought a couple years, sold the house I had and bought a new house. It was this like closet. It's like literally like the size of the bathroom here. Like you can't do much with it. And it's like off like my office. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this. And he's like, why don't you just like put your stuff in here? And like, he was very encouraging of me, like getting my like, we called it my yoga closet for a while, and now it just refers to it as my witch closet, my timeout room.
Yeah.
He's like, you have an attitude. Do you want to go to the closet for a minute? Go check yourself.
You're like, yes, actually, I do want to
Yeah,
go
I
to the
do.
closet.
See you
Thank
later.
you.
Bye.
Yeah. So he's always been super encouraging of that. And, I started, it was probably 2017. Yeah, it was 2017. He was going away for the weekend, guys' weekend, with his mentors and stuff. They go every year to New York for the Pats Jets game. And I was like, what the heck am I going to do like all weekend? And he's like, hey, like there's this like witch fair. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, it's in Nashville. I was like, you know all these people. He's like, go. So he like encouraged me to go. And next thing you know, I'm making flower crowns, and I'm
cute.
buying like this like massive, beautiful piece of citrine necklace, like hunk of a necklace. And I'm like, all these things. And I was like, okay. So then I'm like, all right. So now I'm like just totally immersed in this. I like sign up for the monthly spirit daughter, like moon and sun, like journaling, books and prompts and all the things. I'm doing all the things. I'm like, okay. So next thing you know, I'm like, we're manifesting things. I'm like, this is so fun. So I'm like really, really in it and it's stepping into my power, feeling in my power.
Bless you.
And next thing you know, it's COVID. And I find out I'm pregnant, and then we're moving into COVID. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, you know what? This is what I am meant to be doing. Like, believe, trust in the process.
Of course.
So at some point, I forget exactly how far along in my pregnancy. I just remember I got to a point where I couldn't do yoga anymore. Like I was huge. I was literally like 210, I think it was 208 pounds the day of my delivery. I was like enormous. And I would just still go in and I would sit and I would do my gratitude, my affirmations, like all whatever, do the things. Couldn't really move much. And I just remember someone had gifted me, she was moving and she had gifted me like these mirrors and all these things. And I didn't realize at the time mirrors are portals. And I was like in there and I'm like meditating and I'm like, what the? It was just this very like dark presence that I felt like creeping up. And I was like, what is happening? And I got scared out of my mind. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to be possessed by a demon or my child's gonna be like, all the monkey mind starts, right? So I was like, we're not like, and I just fell out of it. So here comes postpartum. Postpartum was like not a pleasant experience. And I kept trying to find the time and to get back to doing my morning routine of like the journaling, the candles, the affirmations, all the things. When you have a kid who's sick as fuck all the time, doesn't sleep, it was hard. It was so hard. And I got to a point where I was like literal sleep deprivation, to the point where I was like, I was seeing things. Like they were like, ma'am, you need medication. You got all these things. I was like, I don't want this. No, thank you. Mike was like, I got to the point where I could not do like the Zoom meetings with these people without Mike there, because everything I say, they would like twist. It was the most fucked up thing I've ever been through.
Wow.
They were like threatening me. They were like, if you don't take this medicine, if you don't do these things, like we're calling DCAF, we're going to, have you like committed. We're going to take your child. You can go to a mental hospital and take your baby with you. He's like, hello, did anyone ask me? I don't want my kid going to a mental hospital. Like, what is wrong with you people? And it was just the worst experience. And through all of that, it actually reopened so many triggers for me from the domestic violence. I was literally petrified, looking over my shoulder. I was like, you fucking people have taken me back so far. And I don't take a ton of medication. Like, I've never taken hardly anything.
Yeah.
And my OB was like, you have to. And I was like, what do you mean I have to? She's like, just take like a quarter of a pill. I just need you to take enough that I can take a blood sample and we're going to transfer your care. She's like, but if there's none in your system and I run this blood report, we're all in trouble. Like, and I was like,
which, like, listen to that. That sounds fucking insane.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking your medicine.
Like, that sounds fucking insane.
It was literally insane. These people, so I was like, this is like insane. So I was crying. It was hysterical. And Mike was like, he like literally cut off like a sliver of this pill. I don't even remember what it was. It was literally like lithium.
Probably like a benzo or like a antidepressant mood stabilizer.
It was literally lithium. Like, it was a lithium based. Like, they were like, you have psychosis, you are bipolar. Because I'm a super animated person. Like,
that's how we know you, I feel like.
Right?
And I love it.
These people don't know me from a hole in the wall. And I'm like talking and I'm all like, like hands flying,
and
talking
you're a
fast.
new mom and you're tired and you're not being taken care of and your baby's not sleeping and like, you know what I mean? Like, how about we put in some of the facts that like,
and I just remember,
and it's COVID.
Yeah.
You gave birth to a baby during COVID.
Yeah, 10/29/2020.
Yeah.
My Halloween baby. It was just like, and I just remember like he was saying, like, I remember Mike and I both saying to this woman, like, he was like, she just needs to be able to do her yoga. She needs to go for her walks. She needs to go to the gym. Like, she just needs to do these things. And he's like, she just needs time to do these things. And the woman looked at us and was just like, no amount of walking, gym, or yoga is going to fix you.
I can't.
And he literally, like, Mike doesn't get mad. He's the most, like, even-keeled person in the entire world. Like, he's just so even, like, chill.
My
like,
husband's like that. Just like,
yeah.
right
There's
here.
only a few things that will set him off. Touch me, touch my kid, or touch his truck. I remember a guy backed into his truck with a tractor trailer. He called me. He was like purple. I was like, but anyways, so he literally just like turned purple and he like said it so calmly. He looked at this lady and he was like, "'Cause you've seen the inside of a gym recently." And he hung up the phone. I was like, okay, we're all done with that. And he was just, so then it was like, it just kept going. And the OB was like, just, you have to. So I literally took a quarter of this pill. I was crying. I was hysterical. And I remember, the next thing I know, I remember Mike's like violently shaking me. Bryce is screaming, crying. Like, I think he was like 9 months old, maybe 6 months old at the time. Screaming, crying. The dog's whacking at me. And I was like, what happened? And he's like, I've been trying to wake you up for 20 minutes. I was like,
can't.
oh, not good. So the next morning, he's like, has an emergency at work. And he's like, are you sure you're okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be okay. And he's like literally on the phone with me, whole drive down to Boston, and on the phone with me. I somehow managed to like get Bryce down the street to daycare. I get home and he's like talking to me. I'm like, all right, I'm home. And he's like, okay, so you're good? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right, I'll be home at this time. I'm gonna take you to this stupid appointment. And like, he's like, I've got Joe calling places. I'm gonna find you like a new person. We're gonna get you a psych eval and get you away from these fucking people. I was like, okay. He comes home hours later. I'm in my garage, still in the car. Doors closed. Thank fucking God the car was shut off. I literally sat there for 4 or 5 hours. I'd pissed myself. I'd shit myself. I was literally just staring at the fucking wall. Quarter of a pill.
Oh my God, Amanda. I
It
didn't
was
know
like
this.
horrifying. So we do the blood work. We end up getting away from these people. I'll talk to the new people, and they were like, again, trying to push drugs. I was like, I don't want them. Like, I had scoliosis. I had a back surgery when I was 14. Had depression because I couldn't go back to like cheer and do all the things. They gave me Zoloft. My dad was like, we're not giving this to her anymore. I was laying on our kitchen floor, just laughing hysterically, peeing my pants, laughing hysterically at nothing. My dad's like, don't give her any more of that. Like, drugs are not good for her. Like, no. So,
well, clearly that's like your body's way of being like, this isn't for me.
It's not for me. Like, so going through my divorce, like they were like, oh, you're not sleeping, or you're anxious. Try some lorazepam. Did not work for me. It was just like the opposite effect. And I tried to explain this to these people that were like, please take these drugs. And I was like, no, like it's not for me. Like, it's just not. Like, so got away from those people, and I was still trying to figure it out. Like, I was trying to get back to myself, like find myself. And like, I feel like it sounds so cliche because you're like, oh, and postpartum and whatever, but it was just, I had really lost myself. And through that whole process, again, like that, like bring me back to where I had worked so hard to get from.
Yeah, scared
like,
Amanda. Like,
like looking over my shoulder and like looking for someone to like, I just like, I was having like the most horrible nightmares too, like through that whole time. Like, it was just like my ex-husband was like there, and I'm like strapped down to her bed, and he's like, haha, fuck you, bitch. Your turn now. Send me to jail. Like, it was like all of these horrible nightmares, like waking up like soaked in sweat, screaming. Mike's like, he's finally sleeping. Shut up. Don't wake it up. So through that time, it like was just wild, right? So, and of course, through the course of all of this postpartum, I lost both of my dogs. I had them, was 17 and a half.
Wow, that's so
Beach
sad.
was like 16-ish. They were so old. You know, Mike and I kind of like joke. Burge was like my emotional support dog. Like, if I didn't matter, like if I was upset, migraine, whatever, he literally would come over and like lay on me and like put his head on my forehead and just suck it right out. Like, and he was just like, he couldn't handle it. Like, poor guy just started having seizures. Like, he couldn't handle it. He was stressed. It was too much. He couldn't, like, he was like, because he was joking. He was like, throughout the course of like our relationship and stuff, he was like, oh, here comes your Reiki dog. Like, because he would just lay on me, and he would absorb it. And Bryce was 3 months old, and it was like, I was carrying a 70-pound dog up and down the stairs. You couldn't see anymore. Like, it was so sad. And like, I was not prepared. And so we had, like, it got to the point, like, we brought him in to the vet, and he was like, just handed his paw up, like, for the shots. And I was like, okay, like, it's time. And it was so, like, I missed the shit out of him. And literally a year and a week.
Dude, I hope I get 16 years out of my dog. Right? That's a long time.
A year and a week later, Hal was 17 and a half. She had gone into the vet, complete good bill of health on a Friday. Tuesday, Mike's like, you better call the vet. I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, I don't even know. She just like shit blood. And she was gone. Next day, like, that dog, oh my God, I could tell you stories about that dog. She stole the turkey. She ate 28 cupcakes. That girl had an iron gut. She would eat whatever.
What breed are these dogs?
Me and my hounds from hell, Hecate and RJ. They're coon hounds. So it looks like a beagle, but they're like really tall.
Yep.
So
that's a long life.
Yeah.
For a
they're
dog.
Literally only supposed to live to be 8 to 9 years old. But my secret to anyone that's looking for longevity out of your pet is don't treat them like a pet.
Yeah.
Like, I literally would tuck them into bed every night. Like,
show them so much love.
They have pillows. Like, they're like, just love them. Just love them.
Yeah.
You know, just love them. Just, that's all. Literally.
Yeah.
Love, 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 love.
I love that.
All you need is love. So then Mike was like, I think we need a break from dogs. And we had gone a couple of months. And then Rye popped up on Facebook, and I was like, I need this dog. So we're on Facebook. I see Rye on this Coonhound Rescue page, and I was like, oh, look at this dog. And he's like, are you sure? So he came and instantly bonded with Bryce, me, and we were like, okay. And he's like, are you sure? I was like, yep, I need this dog in my life. And he is literally just... He's my, like, boom, instant familiar. We walk every day. So he got me back outside walking and in nature. And I followed the studio for a long time. Like, throughout COVID, I feel. It just kind of, like, popped up. Like, again, like, I think it's because I was, like, following all these other spiritual things. And, like, you know, like, I was like, oh, and whatever. So I'd been connected with the studio. And I saw... a thing that had popped up, and I was like, oh, I really wanted to get back into yoga, right? Like that gateway drug. So I was talking to the law firm. So I work at a law as well as sell real estate. So I, for a long time, did actual divorce casework and stuff, but through pregnancy and everything, I was like, this is too much. Like, even though I do all the things, I need to do less things. So I shifted to do management. So we do monthly things with all the girls in the office, whether it's like axe throwing, like we'll go to lunch, like it's just like a bond thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, there was a lot of like heavy energy and stuff within the office. And I was like, hey, like, let's try yoga. And I was like, yeah, like we can do that. And I was like, what about a sound bath? So I was emailing back and forth with Aspen, like set this up. We all come into the office, the old studio. And I was like, oh, this is like so great. And like, we all take this information. And I was like, oh, we should I really want to do this. I want to do this, but I don't. And shortly after we got Rye, I'm traipsing through the woods and whatever. And he like stopped and he's like sniffing something. And I'm like scrolling. And I saw Amy being like, so I'm doing healing again. And I was like, I need that. And here we are.
Yeah.
So she's like, I need that. And I was like, okay. So I booked a session and it just like blew open like so many things.
Yeah.
Like,
is this breath work?
The first one was just sound, right?
Mm-hmm. It was the women empowerment session you did.
Yes.
We sat here on the couch for a while and just like unraveled, and then
me and my mouth.
We did. Yeah. No, well, that's why I say the sessions when we do private sessions, it's 2 hours. Like there's nothing that I can do. Shit. There's nothing that I can do here in like an hour session. Like I need to like know about you.
Yep.
We need to connect on a level. I can't do like, it's intimate. You know, like it is. And you have to have that connection because you have to trust me to be able to be vulnerable to have these experiences. And then I say 2 hours and then the sessions are normally like 3 hours. It's like,
you were here for like 5.
Yeah, you know, and it's like
so long.
Yeah, no, but it's so beautiful because that's like then like unravels, right? And then the next session I mean, even still, like, I don't do sessions of less than 2 hours because I just need the time.
Yeah. Yep. So I did a sound session, the women empowerment with, like, I think it was mostly sound at that point.
Yeah.
And then
I hadn't done the breath work yet.
yeah. And then I remember I came in for like another one. You were like, let's try this thing. And I was like, okay.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Try the thing.
Be my little.
Yep. So
Like, I don't even know what I'm trying
Guinea
to say
pig?
here. Yeah, guinea pig. There we
Yeah.
go. Be my little. Like, what?
be my little.
Yeah, be my little fill in the blank.
Depends on the day.
We'll leave it all for the guessing, right?
Imagination, people.
Yes. So yeah, and then from there I was like, women's circle, and then Jocelyn's a good friend of mine, and she was doing my makeup for a photo shoot that I was doing, and I was like talking to her, I was like, how have you been? And like, so her son Bodie is literally 2 weeks older than Bryce. We were pregnant like at the same time, and we had like talked like throughout like about
Love
like
that.
postpartum and like just like the issues
All of
and
it,
like
the shit.
the shit. And she was like, oh, and I was like, so you got to do this thing. And she was like, okay. It's like, so you go and like, you do like an empowerment session. And then I was like, and then you kind of like scream. And she was like, but, and I was like, so you like scream. I was like, the first one I was like, ah. And then you're like, no, fucking scream. I was like, and then you scream. And you scream from the depths of your soul. And I got to tell you, if you have not done a breath work, if you have not had a scream from the depths of your soul,
Preach.
you ain't living.
You're really not.
You're really not. It's the fucking scream. It gets me
the scream.
every time.
it's
And at
so
first,
good.
I was that bitch. I was like, I'm not fucking screaming. Like, I'm not a screamer. Like, I'm not screaming. Like, I'm not doing it. And then, like, I'm not a screamer, bitch. Like, I'm not. So, my first scream, like, I just will never forget. Like, I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
And then you don't even really give a shit what you sound like or what it feels like, at first it's like that judgment of like, oh, I'm scared. Like, I don't want to scream. Like, what's this person next to me going to think? It's like, who fucking cares? Like, once you feel that emotional release, it's like, okay, that's why we're told to scream. Holy shit. Like, that's why.
It's like, it literally, and like, I feel like the more I do it, the deeper the scream becomes.
Yeah.
The deeper the scream becomes. And it was
And it is that, because I'm glad you said that too, because I feel like, people come here and they have their first experience or, and they think they're going to, it's intimidating. It's called breath work for a reason because it's work. Like, you have to work to get there. You have to breathe deep to get there. Like, it is work.
Yes.
And it's so beautiful. But like the scream that I posted when Taylor led me through, like, I've been doing this for 2 years. So my fucking screams, like, it's like my throat hurts for like a week after because it's like so like
depths of your soul.
Depths, because like I breathe, and it's like the deeper you breathe, the deeper the release, and like the more you come, the more you can push yourself past because you know what to expect, right? So sometimes people will come to their first breathwork session and be like, I didn't get it, I did it wrong, I did this. So if you had that experience, like, you just have to keep coming back because like now you know, and you have to try it again because a lot of people say that, and a lot of people say they don't scream, and I'm just like, that's also okay too, like whatever release your body needs, but I always encourage the fucking scream because, man, there's nothing fucking like it.
So good. It's so good.
So good.
Yeah. No, and it really is a massive, like, emotional release. I just did a breathwork session for this girl that I was her sponsor in the program, and she was like, I have not cried a single teardrop in the last 7 years that I've been sober, and I just fucking wept through this whole thing. And she's been doing, like, EMDR. Yep. And all the things, like, she's like, nothing has made me cry like I just fucking cried, and I don't even know, like, what to say or how to even thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing, right? It's like there's so many different, there's so many different releases, there's so many different things, and, and that's what I tell people, like,
Amanda is my biggest like cheerleader, like, literally,
just like,
she's an angel. She brings all the people. She does all the things. She helps me make stuff on the internet. She's like, oh, you can't do this? Let me just send you 15 things. Here you go.
Yeah, here you go.
Like, doer of all the things. She really is, like, so amazing. Yeah. She helps bring the lawyer groups in here to, like, do all the things, and, like,
Yes.
I think every time she comes here, she has a new friend that she brings with her.
Yeah.
She's like,
Like,
you
I found
need this
person
breath work.
walking down the street. They look like they needed it. I convinced them to
Or
come.
she's like that one that's like making you feel comfortable if you're new here, because she'll like spot you
Yeah.
out, know that you're new, introduce herself,
Like,
or
hi.
like like
Welcome.
which
And
is,
she
like,
shows
just so
up 30
great.
minutes early, ready
Every
to like
time,
help,
ready to
do all
rock.
the things.
Yeah, what am I
like,
doing?
set
What do
up,
we
how
need
am I
to do?
helping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the first one. She's on the app. She's a great member in the app. She's always there in the
Yep.
mornings. Like, she's always posting, things and sharing her experiences, and just like it's so beautiful to like
It is beautiful.
have you a member.
Yeah, I've just been like, for most of my life, I was just like an open book, and then like I closed off during like my divorce. I closed off during postpartum. I'm like, again, like finding myself and being an open book. Like, there's not a question that any person that like, whether it's can message me through the app or ask me in the studio, like whatever. There's not a question that I would not answer.
Yeah.
Like, and answer honestly. Like, if somebody was like, can you tell me about your domestic violence? Like, what happened? And I'm like, okay, I don't live there anymore. I don't live in that space. Like, I've processed that. That was it. That was, want to talk about moving through breath work. My God, I almost kicked somebody.
Yeah. Now I put Amanda in the front row of the thing because
She moves a
I
lot.
normally don't like touch people during breathwork session, but she was like in the middle and there was somebody in front of her, and you're tall too for
Long
like
legs,
she's
like-
got long legs, and she was so close to the person in front of her. I had to like come behind her and like
Scoop her up.
scooch her back so that way she
talk about
I'm like-
transmuting energy though. So I physically was moving. I was kicking, I was punching, I was rocking, I was moving all over the place. So it was like one of like the night session, like Tuesday night or whatever it was. Go home, think nothing of it, jump in bed. The next morning I get in the shower and I was like, holy shit.
Sore.
What is that? I
sore?
had a literal 2 to 3 inch circle on my back from like rocking and kicking and moving. It was like, I don't know if I think it started from like the back of like my sports
probably
bra
just
or whatever.
friction. Yeah.
And it talk about transmuting so much energy. Like, I was putting aloe on that thing for weeks.
But that's what I love about you, bitch. You go in and you go in. Like, there's no in between. There's no in between, and there's no like half-assing it. Like, you're in it, and you don't give a fuck who's around you. Like, that's like so important though. It really is, because like when you're trying to do the work, you're doing it for you, not for what you look like, not for anybody else. Like, you're here for you. You're here to heal you, and like you truly just don't give a fuck like what that looks like, how it comes out. Like, you are in it, and that is like such a beautiful gift, I feel like, to be able to fully immerse yourself in something so easily and be so vulnerable. Like, that's beautiful.
vulnerability is a superpower.
Yeah.
I guess.
But I wanted to talk a little bit too, and just because I know that you're open and want to share this, because our first session, your women's empowerment, and this is like something that I know women struggle a lot with, and like, don't talk about it a lot, like that postpartum stuff that you were dealing with, and like the stuff with the doctors. I know that was like one of the biggest things that we talked about in the beginning, of feeling so disempowered as a mom, like you didn't know what you were doing, and like not trusting your own gut, because I know he had like reflux or something, and you were telling him and they were saying no, and then they weren't trusting your intuition as a mother, and it was really like this whole thing of like stepping into being a mom, a new mom during COVID, like having no awareness and feeling so disempowered and not trusting your own gut with these things. And so talking about that and having those experiences, and then having to deprogram and heal yourself from the trauma that the doctors caused you.
Not only me, but just him. So so I went into my pregnancy, and so again, I mentioned earlier, I had a spinal fusion when I was 14. So I have a rod and 4 screws in my back, like right down in here. And where it sits is right where they put, when you have a baby, they put the epidural. And they were like, they did all these checks, all these things. They're like, we can do it. And I was like, no. I was like, no. Because again, at this point, I'm still, I haven't like lost myself. I still have that intuition. I still have that connection. And I was like, no. I know so many people, I'm sure you guys do too, they're like, yeah, like for like my leg, like it's never been right. And I was just like, I remember during my back surgery, they literally woke me up and they were like, can you feel this? And I was like, feel what? And it was my left leg. Then they woke me up again and they're like, can you feel this? I was like, yeah. It was like they were running the scalpel across the bottom of my foot. And I just remembered that. And I was like, I'm not doing an epidural. So I was like, I was like, basically like, I don't need a lot of like drugs. Like I had all back labor. And I remember like a couple hours in, I was like, yeah, can I get some like Tylenol or something? Like, and they were like, no, like that's not a thing. So I forget what they gave me, but they gave me a shot of something in an IV. I was a mess.
Probably Toradol. Was it Toradol?
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
God. That was awful.
It was probably Toradol, yeah.
It was awful. So I was like a hot mess. I was like, I don't like this. I feel like I'm falling. Mike's like, you're laying down. And I was like, I feel like I'm falling off the bed, but I'm laying down. Like, this is terrible. And he was just like,
Your body just clearly does not react well with drugs.
no. Like, I've literally, I've been in so many situations, like, in my life, too, where, like, people are, like, they're smoking, like, you know, whatever. Like, we used to, you know, Mike had a motorcycle. People are like, oh, do you want like some, do you want a head of Coke or whatever? And I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, I have no problem. Like, you do you. Like, it's just, I have a hard time taking regular pharmaceutical stuff, right? So I was like, no, I'm good. So yeah, I was literally like, I'm gonna fall, I'm falling. And he's like, you're laying down. I was like, gripping onto him like death grip. And then I was like, I feel like he can't breathe, but I know he can breathe because I can talk to you. He was like, Jesus Christ. He was like, I have to pee. I was like, you're not leaving. You're not going anywhere. Yeah. And so it started at that point, and of like the doctors being like, okay, like you know, you just need to keep pushing. And I knew, no, like I was like, he's stuck. I'm all done. I'm done. And they're like, no, just keep pushing. Like, we can feel his head. And I was like, it smells like shit. I've shit your floor 6 times and I'm done. And I was like, cut me open. We're having a C-section. They're like, well, you have to be out completely because you don't want the epidural. And now they're trying to convince me of the epidural. And Mike could tell I was like getting upset. And I was like, you're going to do it or I'm leaving. You're going to do what I want or I'm leaving. And they were like, nope. And so I was like, all right. So I started taking out my own IV and I was like, get my bags, we're leaving. And he was just like, oh, here we go. The crazy's coming out the closet. And so eventually they agreed. They knocked me out. I was out cold. And because they were like, you won't be awake. You won't know. And I was like, so you're going to take him out. You're going to give him to him. And they're going to skin to skin. And we're all going to be okay.
Yeah.
And can I just tell you, the best thing I ever did for my son was to do skin to skin with Mike. The man runs like a furnace. My kid runs like a furnace. Like, because that's how their body temperature regulates for the rest of their life. Right there. And it was like, they're super, like, I mean, they look like each other. Like, there's no denying this is his kid. But they're so bonded, too. Like, they are so bonded. And I was fine. I'm like, you take him out, you give him to him, we're good. Like, I don't care. So because I was out, I was in the actual OR. It wasn't like a normal C-section where he's like right here, and it was COVID, so he like I had to be outside the door. So he's like standing like shirtless in the hallway with a mask on. And then yeah. I remember like literally at one point they were like, can you put your mask on? I literally like ripped it. I threw it across the room. I was like, I'm not delivering with a mask on. Like, this is stupid. So whatever. So yeah. So we are 2 days out of C-section. Mike is taking a shower for probably the first time since, because I was like, don't leave me, I can't move, don't leave me. So he's in the bathroom taking a shower and I'm like, oh, it's fine. So he like fed Bryce. He was like, you're good. I'm like, yeah, I'll just hold him. Well, he starts choking and I had my C-section. I'm like stuck in this bed and I'm like trying to sit him up, but I can't sit up fast enough. I can't sit him up. Thank God that the universe sent this LNA in at that moment, because she like walked in. I was like, he's choking. And so she like flipped him, boom. And I was like, I really feel like he has reflux. Like, he keeps choking and throwing up. And she's like, oh, he's probably just eating fast. So like the whole thing. No. After he was 3 months old and he started daycare.
We did the whole reflux thing too, and it took me like 2 specialists to be like, okay, you're right. I'm like, I fucking know I'm right.
I'm like, because he wasn't projectile vomiting. It was just
vomit.
Same.
He wouldn't projectile, so it wasn't reflux. I'm like, but it is. Yeah. Like, he has reflux, so he was on like this special.
Don't lay me down flat. I'm screaming.
Like $60 formula for a fucking year. It was terrible.
So thankfully we didn't have to do that. We just we got, literally, it was not until the daycare people sent a note and were like, this child needs reflux medication. Oh, you'll take the daycare lady's word for it, but not mine. Like, really? And then it was the ear infections. My kid is going to be 3 this coming weekend. And he's on a second set of tubes because his ears and the ear infections, and no one would believe me.
Have you ever tried garlic drops?
No.
That's like the holistic route for ear infections and
really?
Stuff. Yeah, garlic drops in the ears.
Yeah. So thankfully, we recently switched daycares, and he, for whatever reason, all of the chronic snot has just gone away. But it was just this, again, that's just this, I'm like, he has an ear infection. We need it to see an ENT. We need a specialist. He went in for his first tubes a couple weeks before his first birthday. And the ENT came out and was like, I've never seen anything like this. Like the sludge coming out of this kid's ears. He couldn't hear anything. His hearing test before his tubes, deaf as a doornail. Deaf as a doornail. He was not speaking, like nothing. So then his hearing test like improved and like improved more. And like, I'm so thankful that his hearing is as good as it is now, because there was a real chance that there was like going to be permanent damage. But it was like, again, like the kicking and the screaming, right? Like no one wants to listen to the new mom. So I was having to advocate for myself. I was having to advocate for my son.
So fucking frustrating.
And like throughout the whole entire thing, like, of course I'm having all the other postpartum stuff, and like 1 minute, like I like you, the next minute I hate you, and I want a divorce, like whatever. Somehow we've survived. Somehow we've survived. But yeah, like it's just like all of this, like having to advocate, and like no one wanted to listen. And I was like, I know what's wrong. And of course, you know, I saw this thing on Instagram a couple weeks ago, and I was like, it makes so much sense. They say, they say that your aura and your child's aura are one.
Yep.
Until they're 7.
Yeah.
So all this time I'm going through all my postpartum. I'm like all churned up, crazy up inside. No wonder my kid's not sleeping. No wonder, like they're so, you know what I mean? Like,
That's exactly why.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. When you're calm, your baby's calm. When Kanan would be up screaming because he had reflux, I'd like lose my shit, and I was sleep deprived, and I'd be like, you know, a mess, crying to Dill, like, I can't do this, like, I'm done, like, I would walk out of the room, leave my crying baby, like, and then that hurts, like, that hurts, like, then I'm crying because I left my crying baby,
because I was just like,
yeah, like, so bad, like, just so bad. And then just like, obviously, like, this was before I had even done trauma work, like, all my built up trauma of like all my needs and my anger would come out at like the worst times, like this poor crying baby just like wants his mom to fucking chill the fuck out. And I was just like riddled with like anxiety, fear, like what the fuck is wrong with my child, like why won't he stop screaming,
and
like,
what's wrong with me because I can't fix him.
Why can everyone calm him but I can't calm him, like it was just
we need to be the ones that our regulated nervous system regulates their nervous system. They will not, your children, if you can't regulate your own nervous system, your children won't be able to either. And then that's why they whine and cry and do all these things, because you need to be regulated. And so that way you can sit next to them and regulate or hug them or whatever it is.
It took my mom telling me that too. Like it was like 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in. She's like, you know why you're so fucking upset all the time? Because you're fucking nuts right now. Like you need to chill the fuck out. Like she would like walk into my apartment and be like, I can feel your energy. Like you're not well. And I'm like, yeah, no fucking shit. Like my birth was traumatic.
You, Mom.
My birth was traumatic. I couldn't walk for a month. Like I was literally bedridden. Like it was bad.
I was there for Caden's birth.
Yeah, it was so fucking bad.
I've been present for like 6 or 7 births. And, you know, even, I mean, Taylin's was also really, Taylin's with Ella was pretty intense too. But, they used like forceps. And like pulled them out. It was fucking.
They used forceps. I was pulled with forceps back in the 90s. Like, early 90s, I was pulled with forceps, and they pulled my kid out with forceps. But I also
had a thing on the wall, and Mike knew it too. I was like, these are the things I don't want. They can vacuum their own fucking asshole. And that's literally what I told the doctors. Like when we started, I was like, you can vacuum your own fucking asshole. You are not vacuuming my kid out.
Well, that's what I said no to.
And I was like,
so he said you have no, 2 options, the vacuum or the forceps.
I said no to both. I was like, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing that. We're not doing this. I'm like, we will push until we can't push anymore. I say no, we're done. Then we're doing the C-section.
Yeah.
And it was like but again, it was like a fight.
Yeah, see, I didn't want a C-section. That's what I was being stubborn on.
I think I kind of willed and manifested it. And honestly, so after, talk about like issues, like, so after the fact, I was like, I don't know, Bryce was like 1.5 years old. I finally went back to my back specialist, and he was like, you pushed for how long? I was like, I blacked out at some point from the drugs they gave me, but my husband says it was like 4.5 hours. I pushed for 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's a long time. I only pushed for 45, but his heart rate was dropping because he was so stuck in my birth canal.
Yeah, so Bryce came out, and he was so like bruised here, like his shoulders were.
Remember Kanan's head? He looked like a goddamn alien. He had 2 heads.
Fuck that.
I'm so serious. He had his little baby head, and then he had a fucking head on top of his head.
Fuck that. No.
From being so stuck in my birth canal, and then them pulling him, they dented his head. He has a permanent dent in his head from the forceps.
Fuck no.
Just wild. Just so much shit. But yeah, again, advocating, not being listened to, constantly questioning your own intuition because you're like, okay, I must be nuts because all these doctors are telling me I'm nuts. So like clearly I'm wrong, or clearly I don't know, or clearly like I shouldn't listen to my intuition, when really like a mother's intuition is never wrong.
Never.
Never wrong.
And we are so taught to not to go against that, and that the doctors know better than us.
No.
And it's not
bullshit.
it. And then like the other side of it, it's like then you can't even process all that just happened because you just had this whole experience. And now you have this new baby to take care of, and then you have postpartum on top of it, and then you have no support system because everybody's so consumed with the baby,
and
right?
The village
It's
is
like
gone.
the village is gone.
They burned the village.
Right. And it's like you don't even realize that. It's like now when a new mom has, like when I have a friend that has a baby, I don't ask them how the baby is. I know how the baby is. The baby is so loved and cared for and snuggled and bathed and taken care of and loved up. It's like, how's the mom?
Yeah, how are you?
How's the mom? Like, Mom, how are you? You know, we know that baby's good. All the loves. Yeah. But like, how are you, Mom? Yeah. Right? Like,
so like, and for me, every situation I've ever gotten myself into since like as long, like far back as I can remember, I did not listen to my intuition. Mm-hmm. And I found myself in a fucking mess. Yeah. I found myself in a mess. I found myself in a situation going, fuck, I should have. Yeah. And it's like, when you don't listen to your own intuition, whether it's in motherhood, like no matter what situation you're in, like just take 2 seconds.
Well, it goes against the universe plan
too.
Listen to
your body.
Yeah.
What is your body telling you? And it's like, every situation that I've ever gotten into, like, talk about like, again, like good old pandemic. All of my like follow-up, my 6-week, my 12-week, all of my follow-up was through a freaking phone call. Not even a Zoom, like a phone call. So, and I was sick as hell. I was like, I just kept being like, something hurts. Like something hurts. Like something's not right. Something's not right. I don't feel right. Something's wrong. Physically wrong. Like I know I'm tired, but like something's wrong. So I finally got the OB to let me like physically come in. I was like, I'm telling you, like I can't sit in the car. Like something hurts. So they, do the little nice old magic wand internal, like whatever. I'm like, oh. Yeah, there was like shit left in there. So I had to go back in in March. So I delivered in October. I go back in March and have a DNC. And they're like, yeah, you were almost septic. I'm like, thank you. Did anyone want to listen to me that something was wrong? And, no, you didn't.
Dude,
so
fucking insane.
So, and then of course I had been completely off of birth control from 2017 when I like had my first like spiritual, like I literally left that first like whatever, like witch fair, whatever it was. And I was like, I need to take my IUD out. Like I was sitting there like, and I was just like, I had this thought and I was like, I need to get this thing out because I was on my second one and I was like, I need this thing out and I need to bleed. I need to have a period. And I was like, okay. So from 2017 all the way until late February 2020, we're not pregnant. We're good. We're strong in our pullout game, folks.
Killed that game.
So we got married. Mike's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, let's just let it go. Like whatever happens, happens. Well, and then of course now we're pregnant. So I was like, okay. And when I went in, they were like, so what do you want to do for birth control? But they're like shoving birth control. And I was like, I really don't think I need it.
My doctor still does it.
I really don't think I need it.
I told you I'm not a fan.
So I was like, can we do something fine. We'll do IUD, but I want something non-hormonal. And they were like, listen, like when you bleed, girl, you bleed. So they were like, that's like not going to help like your heavy periods, like all your hemorrhaging. Like I was like, my bleeding stopped really quick after delivery. And then once my period started again, I was passing like massive clots, like to the point I was like passing out.
That's how Dill's mom was.
Like
she had to get a hysterectomy like really early, like really young, because she would just like
I
literally bleed in her sleep, wake up white, and they'd all freak the fuck out. Like
so, but instead of saying, "Hey, let's do this DNC and then see what happens," it was let's do the DNC and let's put in some more hormonal birth control. Worst decision. I was like, all right, like we're gonna go with it because I remember talking to my mom, and my mom and I have like a weird relationship. Like it's not, it's not like a typical like parental, I'm the parent in the relationship.
Like mother-daughter relationship.
Yeah, it's just messed up. And so, you know, again, like have a kid. Let's bring out some mother wounds. Let's talk about that, right? So she's like, just do it. And I'm like, all right, I'll just, whatever. We can always just take it out later. Worst decision I made, because I think that heavily impacted all of me, like losing my mind shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
Because like
hormonal imbalance, people don't realize how much it affects.
Dude, I'm a
literally
psycho on birth control. That's why I don't
everything,
take it. Dill tells me you're fucking nuts when you're on birth control.
Yup.
Same, I got my tubes out because I literally got my tubes
literally am
removed,
insane on hormones.
so I don't have to take hormonal birth control.
It takes so long after having a baby for your hormones to be
level
balanced
out.
anyways.
Yeah.
So then they're like, okay, now like let's do this DNC. Let's put in some more hormonal birth control, like whatever, train wreck. We already talked about that. We don't need to talk about it again. But so again, like I went in there and I think it was like maybe had it for like 6 or 9 months. And I was like, I need this thing out. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, I am in a constant state of rage. I was like, I feel like I am on the tipping point of PMS 24/7. Like my body want to bleed. Okay.
Yeah.
Like we want to bleed. And they're like, are you sure? Like, what are you guys going to do for birth control? I was like, we'll figure it out. Like if we will,
Yeah.
I'm not
If he's got to
worried
wrap
about-
it and tap it, then that's what we'll do, bitch. Get me off this pill.
We're sticking with the
This
pull and
IUD.
pray. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man's got a strong pull-out game.
Yeah. Seriously.
So it's just
I'm
like,
like, condoms? What are condoms?
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Feels nasty.
Disgusting.
It's so gross. But yeah, it was just like they were so concerned about that, and I was just like, it is like I trust in the universe. Like
Yeah.
I trust in the universe.
Yeah.
Like I trust in the universe. I trust my body. Like, you know, and like
Same.
at one point, like we were talking about like Mike getting a vasectomy, and like we still joke about it. I'm like, you're gonna get your balls snipped, and he's like, but then part of me is like, I really don't want you to do that either, because that's not normal either. Like, let's go back to the ancestors. They weren't like, oh, okay, you know, Tom, the Native American Indian here, you're all done making babies in the village. We're gonna
Let's go out back in the woods here.
right? Like that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, I don't even care. I fucking took my shit out because I don't want another baby. I'm 30,
Fair.
you know, gonna be 38 in a few months. And like, I didn't want, I mean, fucking, they called Zoe a geriatric pregnancy at 35 years old because, like,
Same.
you know,
My first, I was like high risk old granny pregnancy.
yeah, I'm like, cool, geriatric. Who's fucking geriatric? What are you saying to me? Like, hello, dick.
You're
But
35, so you're at the
yeah,
geriatric
35,
point of a pregnancy.
fucking geriatric. But yeah, no, a lot of people don't know. It was covered by my insurance to get my tubes out. And it was literally, I went in, it was a 1-day surgery. My mom works at the 1-day surgery center there. It was covered by my insurance. They went in, they don't tie your tubes anymore. They literally take them out. So it is 100%. There is no fucking chance. Not a single
And it's
slight one.
it's irreversible, yeah.
It's irreversible, so you can't. They like asked, you know, I had to go to like 2 appointments with my OB and just like to make sure. But I had multiple kids and I was like at the age, you know. So I was just like, yeah, nope, take them out. And then it was like a few hours surgery, and I literally felt like I did like an intense ab workout for like 3 days, and then I was perfectly fine. I could still like pick up the kids. Like it was a super non-invasive. They like I don't like can't even see the scars anymore. There's like 2 tiny.
Little,
they
like,
do it.
X's, yeah.
Not even. They're like 2 little tiny dots. They go in through your belly button. They like open your belly button up and like go in there.
It's like laparoscopic, yeah.
Yeah.
Laparoscopic, done, out. I was in and out, and now I don't have to take birth control.
So for me, I'd be like, sure, like let's do that. Then I would like to take them and go bury them in the yard.
Witchy vibes, witchy vibes.
I need to give them back to the earth.
Give me my tubes, please, and thank you.
I was
Like, man, we can't give you those.
I was in.
That's
you
against.
know,
That's a health code violation.
yeah. Well, I felt that
Well,
way
who
about my
knows, they
gallbladder
might.
too. Like I kind of wanted my gallbladder, but
They might do that
'Cause I
though,
had
because they
that
give
out the
people their
same.
placentas, so they might give people their tubes. Who fucking knows?
I didn't ask. I wasn't there yet.
I wasn't there yet.
I was not there. I just wanted my tubes out, and then I got my boobs done.
Just
and
get 'em
I
out,
just knew I
please.
didn't want to have any more babies.
See, I'm just so undecided. I still want one more, I think.
See, I went in February and had cards read. Katie, right here in Manchester, and she was like, "You have this like girl aura," and I was like, "Mm-hmm." And she's like, "But she sees, she's okay with staying like right here." like perfect. Because when we were having Bryce, it was the weirdest thing too. Like I had these like weird, like intuitional, like just visions and things. And
Same. I literally pictured what my son would look like, and he looks like what I dreamed about. It's wild.
Yeah, same.
It's like he visited me in my dreams.
It was like the weirdest thing. I was like, I knew what he was gonna look like, and I was like, I knew it was gonna be a boy, like long before. And Mike was like, no, I think it's gonna be a girl. I was like, no, it's a boy. It's a boy. It's a boy. It's a boy. But if I ever had a girl, it was gonna be Bella Amelia. So I've just named this little like pink figure-ish little orb. Her name is Bella Amelia, and you may stay right there.
No.
Unless you want to pop up in dog form, we welcome all the dogs.
Not all the dogs.
I knew all my babies what they were, and I usually can tell what other people's babies are too.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm very good at reading baby signals.
Yeah, babies. I knew all the babies.
Like, I knew we were having a girl, but then I was convinced we were going against my intuition, right? Like, I knew Hayes was a surprise, so I, like, knew it was, like, I knew it was a girl, but my pregnancy was the same as my son. Everything was the same. Heart rate was the same. And all these, like, old wives' tales, like, oh, nope, if you have same pregnancy, same gender. And I'm like, no, I really think it's a girl. But I second-guessed myself.
Yep.
And was like, okay, maybe it is a boy.
Yep.
And then, boom, she comes out. And I'm like, I fucking knew it.
I know. I was so mad I couldn't be there for Hazy's birth.
I
fucking
know.
COVID. So fucking stupid.
My mom was so pissed, too, because it was her birthday. My mom and Hayes have the same birthday.
That's so
How
cool.
cute would have that been?
I know.
My mom there on birthday day.
See, for me, that was a blessing because I, like, my relationship with my mom, not the best.
Not healthy. Yeah, you didn't really want her
and
there.
she, my sister delivered, Harrison will be a year in December, and somehow she got into the hospital. Like, I have no idea how my mother got into the hospital. Like, still don't know. And, like, she probably did the same thing. Like, I don't know, she's probably sitting out in the parking lot trying to, like, break her way into, like, Lowell Gen when I was, like, delivering. And so she would have wanted to be all up in there. And then, like, Mike's parents have been divorced since he was, like, super little, very close to his mom, his stepmom, his dad. I am close with his mom. We have, like, you know, and his stepdad, like, we have a good relationship, but, like, I would not have wanted
her in the room.
Yeah, no.
That's how me and Doe's parents were. I love Wendy. Like, we were so tight, but she waited in the waiting room and then came in right after.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted Amy and my mom.
I'll never forget
And my husband,
pregnancy with Xavier. It was like Alex. It was like his mom. It was my mom. It was
wedding.
my god. It was so fucking
Did
intense.
they have the Windex?
My dad was like behind the curtain. Like it was literally Sierra. Like literally, there was like fucking 17 people in the delivery room.
I'm dead.
Like I was just like a big fucking party. But
well, mine ended up being a party because all those students needed to see a birth to get their license, and I was so fucked up at that point. I was like, I don't care who gets in here, it's fine. Like there was like literally 10 people in the back, like just standing, like students.
Yeah, like I mean, I've always like there's
the
been
most traumatic birth they probably ever saw too.
Right? They were like
pulling
we've
out the
changed our
forceps from
mind.
the 90s.
We've changed our mind.
Like okay,
we don't want this anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've never been the one to be like, no students. Like I don't. That stuff's never.
Same.
Really
I'm like
me,
so
but.
like open book when it comes to like all that stuff. Like I don't give a shit.
people gotta learn.
Yeah.
But we could talk and sit
Oh my
and have
God.
living room
Days,
talk all
hours.
days. So if you could, right, we'll end the episode like we do always. Give the listeners a one shot, one life, one advice, all the things, doer of all the things, life lesson that you've learned in all of your years and this year, because it's been a year now, right, that you've been, because you came in right when we haven't been here at the studio, but I feel like you came in right in February or March for your first session.
Yeah, so it was just about a year for like the group thing where we brought everybody into the old space, and
because that was wild. You know that, right?
Yeah.
That like you guys came in and then I needed a divorce lawyer. Literally, fucking 2 weeks later, I was like, well, if that's not
Signs are signing, motherfuckers.
If that's not the fucking universe working in a way, I'll never forget that because I was like ready to file for a divorce, and I was like, holy fucking shit! I just did that family law office. Literally 2 fucking weeks
I remember
ago.
that. I remember that.
I was like, what the fuck? The
I know.
universe really provides. It was like,
Right.
how did you know? How the
I
fuck
know.
did you know?
I know.
So that was like a year, and then so it was like February, March was like my I would think it was like one of like the first sessions that you did here in this.
You were
broke it right in.
Yeah.
So I mean, so for me, like again, like getting back on that spiritual, horse, that dark horse, and just working like accepting your shadow and working in the shadow work, like all of that stuff. It's been about a year since I've been back into it, and obviously I was doing a lot of it before I got pregnant. For me, just the biggest lesson, I don't care if you are a man, a woman, like whatever you are, listen to your body, listen to your intuition. When it says no and like all the signs are signing like no, like just be open, be aware, and just listen. Like you have to trust it. If you can't trust your intuition, you can't trust yourself, like you have to trust it. And like it's funny because like Mike's a hunter, and like he'll be like in the tree stand, he's like, do I take the bear? Do I do it? And I'm like, you just need to like, I was like, I'm not there. Like, I don't know. He's like, your ravens are here. Like, this is here. I'm like, I'm not there. You have to decide. Is it the one? And then he's like, I'm like, so we're eating or what? So we were eating or what? But it's like, you have to trust yourself, and you have to listen to your own intuition. That, and just, for me, like the biggest gift the universe has given me in my adult life, my bounce back, like truly is like, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, Mike 100% like soulmate. Like, he's very, he's got that like super like Native American look. Like it's just is, it's in his genealogy, and, it's that deep connection, and it's just that deep level of trust, love, and understanding.
Yeah.
And again, it was listening to that intuition and like believing in that. And it's just like, at the end of the day, like when you have that, you have to continue to listen to your intuition. Because if, again, like my anger and everything through my postpartum, I was going to divorce his ass. I don't even know how many times. And he was like, whatever. Okay. Like he knew, and like he trusted. And like, thankfully he did, and he was like knew, and he trusted, and like at the end. But even when I was saying it, like I physically felt it, like that was not the right thing. But I was not in the right frame of mind. I was working from here, not from here. So it's like tapping into that heart, tapping into that love of yourself, and just trusting in your intuition and trusting in love. And I do strongly believe that if you steer off your course and your path, and there are lessons in that, right? Like I can look back through my life, that everything that I've been through, from a child to like all of that stuff with like, that I'm now currently working through, like the mother wound and all that shadow work that I'm doing now, the childhood stuff. But my adult trauma, right? Because it's so much easier for us to like start in the now and work our way back, right? So like the adult trauma, like the domestic violence, and losing my dad at 21, like he was my safe parent, like he was my like, and all of those things, working through all of those things, like I've learned again that like each of those scenarios have put me in a position to do what I'm doing, and to be where I'm at, and to help the people that I'm helping. Like most of my real estate clients are people who've been divorced, and like they have like credit issues and things. Like I'm like, I get it. Shit. When Mike first moved in, he was like a couple weeks in, I was like, so we're kind of behind on the mortgage. And he was like, who's the we? He's like, I just got here. And then he's like, how bad is it? And he was like, oh, okay, we're gonna figure it out. And he was like hourly at the time. He's like, I'll work some overtime. Like I'll get a side job. Like I'll figure it out. And he's always just been like so chill. Like we're gonna figure it out. And I'm like, ah. But again, like when you learn to trust in yourself, like you trust in the universe will provide. Like the universe will help you course correct
Every
time.
Every time.
Yep. The universe will help you course correct. You just have to trust in your intuition, trust in the universe, trust in
being
the love.
in this community. I've seen it so much too. Mm-hmm. Like not just within myself or AIM, like you the women who come here and that tell us stories of like the crazy shit that happens, but like it happened for a reason and they're blessed that it happened because like it led them to this new thing. And like, I'm just like, holy fuck, it really is.
Even the wildest shit of like, dude, I'll be like at the park. I was at the park like a week ago and some lady was like, hey, I listened to your podcast.
Yeah.
Like, it's so nice. Like, I'll be like at the grocery store and people are like, Amy? And I'll be like, yeah. And they'll be like, yeah, we listen to your podcast. Like, that's the universe. Like, we don't do any marketing. Like, we don't do anything at all other than like organic word of mouth. People like you that have come here, that have had these amazing results and they're showing up for themselves. And it's like, you know, I'm really like, I'm trying to like step into it, right? Because like I don't like to take credit. I don't take credit for anybody that does anything that they come here. Like, you choose, right? Like, I provide the space, I do the thing. Like, it's more for me too, right? And like, you show up every day and you fucking show up for yourself and your life is changing. You're inside. People, you go to work. The reason why they come to breath work now.
They're like, what are you on?
I was like,
I'm on that breath work.
You know, you're
I'm on
changed.
That life high, baby.
You know, in this past year, these people that have been around you have witnessed you change and they're like, what have you done?
Yeah.
And
what are you doing?
You know, and that's been happening a lot. There's one of the other community members works with my mom, and my mom was telling me the other day, she's like, you know, like I work, and she's like, and you can just literally tell that there's a difference in her. And I'm like, that's the universe. Like, there's things that are happening, and there's so much magic happening in this community because you started showing up for yourself and you have spread the word to everybody. And this is what I always say, right? Like, we all are so focused on changing the world and everybody wants to know what they can do to change the world. The only thing that you can do to change the world is to make your light shine brighter. Yep. And because your light shines brighter, you shine that light into every place that you go. And then whether it's this community or finding another community, because like we're not the save all here, like we're not for everybody. I know I'm not for everybody. I'm a fucking yelling and screaming and swearing and fucking doing all this shit, all the weird shit. It's literally, I'm like, you guys just had the most beautiful experience, and then I'm up here at the front of the room being like, welcome to the weird shit club, people.
Literally.
Proud member.
Yeah, like, what
proud
the
member.
fuck did we just do? You fucking had my hands lobstered. I don't fucking know. Like, you know, so it's fine. But
and that's the thing, right? It's like, so people are like, oh, so tell me about it, like whatever. And it's like every single time I have a different experience. Like I like, you know, just the last Tuesday that we were here and it was literally, you know, going through and like the breathing and stuff and like working through some childhood stuff. And like at the end of it, like literally my dad was in the room holding my head and like look, like I could hear him, I could feel him, I could like smell him, and he was just like, so happy. I'm sorry. It was not. He's like, we were not angry at you. It was not your fault. We were not like I just remember like my parents fighting about money when I was a kid, and I always felt like it was me. It was my fault, and like that whole like thing. And he was just like, you know, because I'm very like loud, very passionate. My dad was very like loud, passionate person. And they would like, my parents would get into it. And it was, you know, just like yelling and like about money and bills and like whatever. I mean, it was.
Financial stress is huge on a marriage.
It's huge. Yeah. It's so huge. And, you know, but I've seen him. I've seen my grandmother. I mean, I have more family like that's on the other side than here. But like my dogs have like popped in, like shown up.
Oh my God, the first session, remember the dog hair was on the mat? And I'm like, I don't have dogs in here.
You're like, there's no dog. And I'm like,
there's never been a dog on my Thai yoga mat. Like we have, Snook comes in here with his dog every once in a while, but the yoga mat's not, like the Thai yoga mat's
the Thai yoga mat's not out.
Private session mat's not out, so there's no reason why there'd be fucking dog hair.
I was like, literally, I'm sitting there and like, I literally pulled out and like, so it's funny too, because,
that was the first session, wasn't it?
Yeah. And like all three of my dogs, like same, I almost said brand, same breed of dog, but each one of their fur is like slightly different and has like a different texture. And like Hal's like was I can tell you exactly where it came, right here under her collar, like that thick like neck. It was literally a piece of her fur, literally just one hair of her fur. And I was like, but yeah, I mean, she's like, and that's the thing, like they like,
I love that so much.
Just spirit. If you are open to spirit and like it will come.
It'll show up, baby.
Trust your intuition. Trust.
Just always trust.
Yep. The weird is out there, my friends.
Trust your intuition and find a community.
That
Try this one
embraces your
first.
weird. Yeah.
Try before you buy.
Yeah, yeah, we love you. You're always welcome. You can totally fucking sit with us. We are all here. That's like
Yeah.
on Wednesdays we don't wear pink and you can sit with us.
Yes. You
We're in
can.
the black.
Yeah, we all got black on. Black and mushrooms. I got
Yep.
mushrooms on.
And our
Earth
mushies.
to everyone.
Yeah. Love it.
All right. Well, we love you. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh my god.
I'm going to cut that out.
Yep.
All right. Well, we love you, and we are so appreciative of
So
you
eternally
taking
grateful.
the time to come here and sit with us on our very last episode. Oh, my God.
That's my favorite
Of
number.
season
33.
1. And
But we have one next week. Oh, it's just a recap.
yeah, but we'll
It's
just
just the
like
two of us?
I'm gonna end it at 33, so it stays at 33.
And
but
then just do like a recap.
yeah, we'll just
Power
do a
of
little-
3.
Yeah. So thank you. We love you.
And then I start breathwork in the Sacred Community app on Monday nights because I'm like, oh, I'm going to give myself a day off. No, it's just once a month, though. So I'm just excited to, like, I'm going to have a day where I, like, don't have
Don't
the
have
kids and I
anything
don't
going
have work.
on.
Well, I still do treatment at 11, but that's fine.
Well, nighttime. I feel like a lot of my nights are
Yeah.
so busy.
Yeah, I finally
So
don't-
pumped
I'll
about
have
like a night off.
I know, me too.
All right.
All right, one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Let's close off our last episode with the biggest deep breath that we've taken all season with so much gratitude and love for all of our listeners, for all the people who have tuned in, for all the people who have shared our episodes. They are growing and we are so eternally grateful. We'll expel all the energy out. Big inhale, lift up, rise up, fill up, open the heart. Audible exhale, let that shit go. You guys are so amazing and we're so fucking grateful and we cannot wait for season 2, baby. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen to what we have to say. It means the world. As always, we want to end this episode by reminding you that we are not medical professionals and we are not giving any type of medical advice. We are simply sharing our experience and solutions.
We are here with the intentions of reminding you that you are never alone and that everyone's healing journey is unique to the individual. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms to stay updated. Stay well, Sacred Rebels. See you next time.